Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Day 2 program of the 2021 FedEx Express JA International Trade Challenge Asia Pacific Finals. We had a great kickoff with the opening of the ITC Asia Pacific Finals yesterday. In addition to learning about this year's challenge topic, our 30 ITC Asia Pacific finalists also had the opportunity to hear and learn from our FedEx speaker, Mr. Masamichi Uije, on the future and trends of entrepreneurship and how to be an entrepreneur with a purpose. In addition, we also had the opportunity to hear from some of our incredible ITC alumni in the 15th anniversary Fireside Chat featuring alumni from 2009 to the latest edition of the ITC AP Finals. Today, we would like to kickstart with more learning opportunities for our ITC Asia Pacific finalists. Introducing our Entrepreneurial Journey speaker, Mr. Neptune Factor, founder and CEO of ECFufill Inc. ECFufill is a global e-commerce management platform currently powering more than 180 Filipino MSMEs' expansion path towards engaging international marketplaces such as Amazon and eBay, amongst others. ECFufill answers all the global selling needs of local MSME entrepreneurs by providing them with an easy-to-use cloud-based platform. Welcoming Mr. Neptune Factor, founder and CEO of ECFufill Inc.
Thanks, Winnie. I would like to thank our organizer, JA Asia Pacific, for inviting me. And of course, our sponsor, FedEx, which is also our partner. And I would like to welcome everyone, our students, our student participants. Congratulations. I know it's a very hard times. It's been very difficult for us for the last more than a year already. And I'm hearing about good things about what you've been doing. So I'm very excited to share my story. So I started my business not with groundbreaking ideas. I didn't invent anything that's extraordinary. I started my business with a whitening soap. It's funny, right? Someone like me that will start my journey with a whitening soap. So I'll share that story later. Before that, I'd like to formally introduce myself. My name is Neptune. I'm the founder and CEO of ECFufill. I'm 41 now. I started my company at 39 years old. So I think it's a misconception that startups are being founded by young people, but actually there are a lot of startups are being founded by similar age like me. There's actually no age limit or age requirement. You can start at earliest as of now for you guys, but you can also start late. Similar to me, I had to work my way through this. So I work in multinational companies like Dell, AT&T, and Thomson Reuters. These are very important years for me because I learned a lot. The skills, the experience I needed to run my company, I learned through this work. So let me go back to my story, the whitening soap. Around 2015, 2016, my co-founder and I have been really wanted to start a business, and our goal was to really find Filipino products that can be very popular in the US. So we wanted to sell something from the Philippines, and we found in Amazon while searching that there is a whitening soap that is very popular there, and this is Kojisan soap. This is a whitening soap. You can buy here during that time here in the Philippines at 50 pesos. So that's around $1. And we can sell that at 500 pesos. So times 10 of the local price. So we found really a good opportunity. Okay, I told my partner, my business partner, hey, we can sell this. But while trying to sell that to the US, we found that it's not very easy. Like, it's not easy sending this type of product. How do we sell that? How do we market that? How do these products can be delivered to Amazon? So we encountered a lot of challenges, and it took us several months just to learn the process, just to understand. So we had to create our own system, our own process, so that we can effectively sell this product. But after, so we send 1 to 2 boxes, sold out immediately, and then we send another one. The challenge with us being the buyer and then selling that, the scale is very limited on our capital. So we don't have much capital on our side. So it took us, after being sold out in the US, it will take several weeks before we can receive the remittance, and then we will buy again. So the scale is very slow for us because we don't have much capital. So my other co-founder suggested that, hey, why not teach what you learn to other people? And I said, wow, that's a very good idea. So how do we do that? How do we teach that? And how do we check if there is a market for this? So that the easiest way to market test is to run a workshop, right? So we run a workshop. It's a paid workshop. We're charging around 15 to 20,000 per participants. So we wanted to know, is there a demand for this type of service, for this type of learning? And it was sold out. So we have around 20 participants paying 15 to 20,000 pesos. That's not cheap. So we were able to prove that, okay, someone is very interested on what we know. So after the workshop, they will still ask the participants, can you help us with our business? I know you already teach us the ins and outs, the steps, but we still wanted to have someone to help us, guide us. And we will pay you for that. And it was a game-changing insights that even if we teach them, they still need to have someone to guide them. And this gave us an idea to create our startup, and that's ECFufill. So we can build, and as I have a background in IT, I know that we can build a system out of this. That instead of us being the one that's gonna sell, we can help a lot of MSMEs that already have products, right? Because we don't have our products on our own, but there are a lot of MSMEs in the Philippines that have products that really needed to have access to the global market. So in 2018, and also we've done a research that in the Philippines, they have very low export, and the adaptation of e-commerce is very low. So we're able to understand this problem that there's an opportunity for our system, and this really affected Philippines on the lockdown last year. That 2/3 closed temporarily. So we have found a niche, an area of the business that we can work on. So in 2018, we applied to the Idea Space Foundation startup competition, and we're able to win a grant, a 500,000 grant, and it helped us to start building our business. So in 2018, we still have not built our system. We wanted to validate, okay, how many MSMEs will they try? What are the things that they need? So this 500,000 helped us a lot. By 2019, we started building our software. We were able to get an investor of 1 million pesos, and it helped us to build our system. And this is what we're trying to solve with our system. Especially for the Philippines, we're very focused on, and I think that's is also true with other MSMEs in Southeast Asia and Asia Pacific, that local MSMEs are very focused on the local market. And and the way they sell is physical, right? So they have stores, brick and mortar. So that's why when there's a lockdown, they're very limited, right? Because they don't have other ways to sell. And this is not for lack of trying. Everyone, every MSME that I talk to, every business owner, they really wanted to do export. But the traditional way is very complicated. It's very expensive. You have to talk to several entities just to find a global market, just to find a buyer, right? And especially at this time that you cannot go out of the country, it's very hard to find a buyer. And also, I've talked to a lot of MSMEs that even if they have successful transactions, sometimes it's just break even, or sometimes it's a loss for them because they don't have that knowledge. They don't know how much do they sell. So they're very limited on those knowledge. So that's why we build our platform. So we're building a platform that integrates everything. So that's e-commerce marketplaces like Amazon, eBay. We have data analytics for market intelligence, logistics, fulfillment, marketing, payments. Everything that you need is on our software. So the goal of ECFufill is that you just need to talk to one entity. So if you're an MSME, ECFufill, and you're a global market, you eliminate basically all the other entities so that it's very simple for our MSMEs. And this is our goal for ECFufill, is to have access to 65 global marketplaces across 190 countries. Because based from our research, there's an e-commerce player, a dominant marketplace player in each of the country, in each of the region. For Philippines, that's Lazada and Shopee. But there's no Lazada and Shopee, for example, in Japan, right? There's no Lazada, Shopee, and Flipkart. So there's a dominant marketplace. And for an MSME, do you have to learn everything, right? So it's very hard for them to understand each regulations, each requirements for sending products to each country. We don't want to do that for MSME. It's very, just to run a business is very complicated, and they have to learn these things. So it's very hard for them. So what we're telling our MSMEs is that you have to focus on what you're good at, which is to produce, to innovate products. And in terms of distribution, marketing, that's easy to fulfill. We can do the back end work for you. And we launched our software last year, February 2020. And then the pandemic happened, right? So it was a really challenging times. And we just recently launched our software, and we have a lot of expansion plans. But these things happen. And if you look at an entrepreneur journey, it's something like this. So when you start, for us, we had our first competition, we won 500,000, we have our investor. So initially, you have those success. Everyone wants to join you. Everyone wants to congratulate you, and they're very happy for you. But there will be challenges just to scale. And challenges in terms of building your product, challenges in terms of getting customers, challenges within your team, right? So it's the first time that you're working together. It's really hard. And the phase that after this initial success is what we call the valley of death. This is where a lot of businesses fails. That's why if you look at the statistics, 9 out of 10 businesses fails. And because of these uncertainties, because of these challenges. And you have to go through this as an entrepreneur. And personally, I do have those challenges as well. Personally as well, and also businesses in terms of the business challenges, right? So we had to change several times our pricing model, right? So we wanted to make sure that what our pricing is affordable to our MSMEs, because our target are MSMEs. We have challenge within our team in terms of what will be the direction. And it's very tiring, very exhausting. And to be honest, there are times that I almost gave up. Right? It's sometimes not worth it. Imagine that it takes you 3 to 4 years just to have something of a success, and in that 3 to 4 years, it's hard to give salary to yourself, right? So you have to focus, you have to prioritize your employees just to have their salary, and for 3 to 4 years, my savings was wiped out, and sometimes it's not worth it. You have to question yourself: is it worth it? Yeah, okay, can I just go back to corporate work, right? But the next several slides is the things that I learned and why I'm still continuing this. And I would like to share to you these learnings and why I'm still here, why I'm still fighting, why I'm still working. Because one thing is that we're helping a lot of MSMEs. We're helping a lot of Filipinos. So these are the learnings that I've learned, that were shared to me. So first is, be very good in what you're, find the things that you're good at. I'm not ashamed to share that I had to go through therapy as well, me personally, because I wanted to understand myself. I wanted to find where I'm lacking at, where are my improvements. And the way to do that is really to look inward. So during my session with my therapist, she said that find something that you're good at. And I look into myself and I just realized that I'm good at sales. I thought I'm very good technically, but I'm also very good at sales. So I focused myself on the sales and marketing side of the business. And for the last several months, we've been hitting our numbers already. And also, if you're being true to yourself that, okay, I'm not good at this, you will start delegating, right? So for us, I know you being someone that's a leader, I know you as a student, you also a student leader. It's very hard, right, to delegate. You wanted to do everything. But the thing is, you're not good at those things. So either mediocre or you have mistakes. The good thing, the right thing to do is delegate this to someone that's better than you. Identifying yourself, okay, I'm good at this. And those things that I'm not good at, I'll delegate. I'll find someone, hire someone. And it really helped us because I was able to focus on what are the things that I love to do. Second is that you should know how to storytell. This is very important, especially for tomorrow. I know that you're already preparing for your pitch, is that make your story as simple as possible, as relatable as possible. You should look at your pitch, look at those, practice, and if there are jargons, if there are technical terms, remove them or change them because you want to be as simple as possible. And to be simple is very hard. When I was starting, I wanted to, when I do pitch, because I do pitch, I joined pitch competitions. But my initial pitches is that I wanted to tell them everything, right? I'm gonna tell them everything that I want. This is my plan. And it confuses them, especially for the first time that is hearing your pitch. They would not understand. And it also is a manifestation of your thinking, right? So the more things that you wanted to accomplish, it's very hard to accomplish those. So if you're finally able to find, okay, these are the things that I wanted to do, these are the things that we will do, the story becomes simple. And the more you understand yourself, the more you understand your business, the better is your story. Um, and it takes time. So don't worry about, okay, on the first try, you will not be able to get this. It took me several years. Even now, I'm still changing our pitch. So it doesn't stop in terms of improving. So just continue improving on your pitch. Make it as simple as possible. And it's better if you listen to the feedback of your coaches and of your colleague or your teammates to make it simple as possible. Because sometimes when you're pitching, right, it's clear to you, but when you're pitching it to other people, they don't know what you're talking about. So this is very important. I would like to note this and make sure that when you do your pitch, make it as simple as possible. Last is in terms of execution. Execution is very key. I'm not sure if you heard this, is ideas are cheap. And this it's actually true. If there are 10 people that have same ideas, the one that will execute will be the winner, right? Because it's easy to just think of ideas, but the hardest part is to execute. This is where the value of that, right? This is really execution. And it takes a lot of guts, takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of manpower, right? So you have to have those key people to execute them. And for our business, we really had a hard time in terms of the operation sides of it. And because ECFufill is very heavy on the operation side. So I had to really not just fire, but to the current the one that's handling our operations before, I had to find a better role for him so that we can hire a full-time operations manager, because that's very key. So when you have your ideas, you also need to understand, to also research, to also study. How do we execute this, right? Because you can have a very good idea, but if you will execute, especially for your challenge, right? So for the market penetration, how can I execute that? Anyone can have a really good idea, but if you cannot execute, it doesn't matter. So lastly is you need to ask for help. As on this saying is that you're not asking because you're weak, because you want to remain strong. For me personally, right? So I had to go to my mentors. I have several mentors. I have to go to a therapist because I needed help. I needed to improve myself. And it doesn't stop. You should continually improve, continually ask for help. And for ECFufill, I don't think we will survive without those people. So to give you a story, the Philippines had a lockdown last year, March 2020. A week before that, I didn't know. A week before that, I didn't know that there will be a lockdown. But I know from our financial status is that we're lacking in cash. So it's how can we survive if we don't have a cash, right? So I went to my mentor, who is an American based in the Philippines. He has been helping me since the start, but he's still not yet an investor. He already invested in other startups, and he said, okay, I don't have a available cash now, but I will help you in terms of other areas like developing your ideas, your business model. So I went there. I gave him the updates of ECFufill. These are the things that we're doing. These are our leads. And before the end of the meeting, I asked him, we don't have cash now. We're limited in terms of cash. I need around 2 to 3 months of runway, so meaning 2 to 3 months of cash flow to survive so that we can execute what we're trying to do. And without asking, he didn't ask me question. He just said, okay, I can cover that. Imagine that, right? If I didn't ask, I wouldn't be able to receive those money. So he invested around 700,000 pesos. And it helped us during the lockdown, right? So it's a hard lockdown, no one can move. And it helped us during those times that I was able to give salary to our employees. We're able to execute what we're trying to do. And what those execution is that we're able to get a partnership with the government, with the Department of Trade and Industry. So that's Trade Ministry for other countries. So prior to lockdown, we've been already discussing a partnership with them, but we didn't have a software then. So when we launched it by Feb, we're very excited to share. And then pandemic happened, right? So it took us several months just to get a meeting with them. And once we had a meeting with them, they like what we're doing. And they sponsored around 80 to 100 MSMEs to the program. So they paid for the onboarding for ECFufill. They paid for the first shipment of their products to the US. So it really helped our MSMEs. So that's why we have around 180 now. And majority of that is coming from the DTI. So right now, out of the 180, we have around 20% that have successfully tested. So on the initial months for MSME, they'll be sending 1 to 2 boxes. But for this month, we have 6 brands that will be sending around 800 pieces to 1,000. That's around 40 boxes already. And that's because of we're able to extend our runway. We're able to get the partnership with DTI, right? So imagine, right? If I didn't ask for that help and we didn't ask for the investment. And we also started discussion with traditional retailers in the US like H Mart. We're also going to be looking at Walmart, Target. So that's our goal for MSME. We'll start small, selling online, but our really goal for MSME is to be a full-time exporter that not just online, but also on the brick and mortar mainstream retailers in the US. And because of that partnership, we're able to get recognized by the DTI secretary himself, Ramon Lopez. He liked what our partnership, because even during the lockdown, during pandemic, we were able to promote, sell Filipino products, especially for MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises to these marketplaces. It's an honor for us. And lastly is that this is one of my proudest moment last year as an entrepreneur. FedEx really like what we're doing, that we're helping a lot of MSMEs in the Philippines from product development to distribution. So we had a partnership and they produced a video of ECFufill. If you look at the Facebook page of FedEx Asia Pacific, we're actually the most watched, most liked video, and I'm very proud of that. So after my talk is that you will be watching our video. So before that video, I would like again to congratulate everyone. You're already a winner for us. Being in this competition during a pandemic is really a great achievement, and good luck to the pitch tomorrow. I hope that I can see you on the grand finals during the final pitch. So again, thank you to JA Asia Pacific and FedEx for inviting me. Maraming salamat. Thank you po for the invitation, and good luck.
We have a lot of plans. Ang dami namin expansion plan. Tapos merong pandemic. Pero na-realize namin na we have to continue. I really felt that na yung solution namin is something na kakailanganin ng mga MSMEs. Alam namin mahirapan sila. Kasi nakita namin sa data na maraming Filipino MSMEs is focus lang locally. Yung pinakamerkado nila, dito lang sila nagbebenta sa Pilipinas. At yung channel nila, the way they sell in physical store. Tapos dito lang locally sa Pilipinas. So nung nag-lockdown, alam namin na wala silang bebentahan. Their business will stop. We saw a lot of solutions na nag-o-offer na bringing them online. Pero for us, bringing them online is not enough. Will not just make you online, but will also make you global. Maraming siyempre yung logistics companies sa Pilipinas. Pero nung nakausap namin yung FedEx, alam mo, iba yung gaan ng loob sa unang mong pa lang silang makausap. Naintindihan nila yung ginagawa namin. Ang gusto ko sa kanila is that they're willing to work with us na isang startup lang, bagong-bago pa lang. And we have a certain way of doing things. Pero sila, they willing to adjust or listen to that. Kasi ang pagpapadala ng produkto mula sa Pilipinas at sa ibang bansa, hindi siya madali. Kung wala sila, mahirapan kami na magpadala ng mga produkto sa ibang bansa. I'm proud of our Filipino products. I'm proud of Filipino entrepreneurs who continually makes them. I'm proud of our company, ECFufill, that helps these entrepreneurs make their products global.
Thank you, Neptune, for sharing your insights from your incredible entrepreneurial journey. It is now the opportunity for our ITC Asia Pacific finalists to raise any questions they may have for you. Once again, students, this is your opportunity to learn more from Neptune, so please be reminded to use the raise hand function in Zoom to raise your questions. I will facilitate by calling out your team name. And don't forget to turn on your video and unmute yourself before asking your question. Don't be shy, students. This is your opportunity. Okay. So we have a student from Athenas, Team Athenas. So if you can unmute yourself and turn on your video to raise your questions for Neptune.
Hello, good morning. Thank you so much for your insight. It was very inspiring for me. I want to ask this one question. When we start our business and we fail for our first time, when do we know where to stop and change our product to another thing? Because I kind of worry if I continue with this product, it will not be a successful one. That's all for my question. I look up for your answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the question. That's actually a very interesting, I think that's a very valid concern for someone that's starting. The one thing that you would like to do is to understand the reception of your product at the cheapest way possible. Similar to our story, right? So we had to do a workshop. So it didn't cost us a lot. It actually earned us, but we're able to identify, okay, there's a market, there's a need for what we're trying to do. And when you build your product, you need to make sure that it's not your need, but your customer's need. I think we always fails, including me, always fails on that, is that sometimes I'm thinking about my problem and not my customer's problem. But who will pay for it, right? It's the customer. So you should always think of the need of your customer, I think. And once you understand that, you'll be creating a product that is really addressing a certain problem of a customer. So once you build your product, so that's the first thing, is to understand what's the problem of the customer, and you build out of that. So how do you determine if it's gonna fly? Is to really test them. And not just testing them with, will you buy? Or just your family and friends. Don't ask your family and friends because sometimes they're just very courteous, very polite, and not to say, I will not buy your product. Or they will just say, oh, okay, that's great. So you have to really go to your customer, your target market, and really offer them. You could either outright sell them or try them at a trial or ask them for a trial, right? So their feedback will be very key, whether you will pursue or gonna do a pivot, what they call pivot, right? So if their feedback is that, okay, your product is good, but there are certain things that you need to improve, and then improve, right? So pursue that product. But they will say, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it will, I will buy that. And then you will just change pivot. So it's really about your customers' feedback. And when you do feedback, make sure that you're not asking leading questions. Make sure that you really want to understand. So I think that the key here, the perfect skill is empathy. So you need to empathize to your customer, understand them, and it will go a long way in terms of if they give a feedback.
Thanks, Neptune, for your question and also for your answer, and students for your question. And we have got another question coming in from Team Crescendo Fantasy. Team Crescendo Fantasy, please unmute yourself and turn on your video before you ask your question.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to genuinely thank you on your wonderful presentation, especially on the story part. I think it was like Putri mentioned, it was very inspiring for a lot of us. But I have a particular question. So when you're sort of starting a business, whether it's a service or a good during the pandemic, how important would you say it is to take into account the condition of the pandemic, because you want the business to last even after the pandemic has ended? So how important would you say it is to take into both considerations before and after the pandemic?
That's a very good question. And I think a lot of companies now are also thinking of that. And it's a good thing that for you, you're already thinking that before starting. It's very important. What the pandemic has exposed the companies and how we do things is that we don't have backup plans, right? A lot of companies don't have backup plans. And I think the key word is resilience. I think when we build our process, when we build our business, especially now, is to build it to be resilient. It's the risk management is more important now. Even before, it's just an exercise, right? Okay, I have risk. It's just an exercise, and I'm just putting it on paper. But now it's very important that it's an actual process, in actual sort of the culture already of the business, is to have a resilient internally. First, you need to be resilient in terms of processes, in terms of, for example, your goods, right? You're producing a good. You need to have those backup plans. If you're sourcing it, for example, from the Philippines, I'm sourcing that in China, but there's a lockdown. So how can I produce my product if there's a lockdown? I should have an alternate source of raw materials, for example, in Vietnam, right? So you should have those internally in terms of processes that even if there is something similar that will be happening in the future, my business will still gonna run. In terms of external, in terms of distribution, I should have also multiple sales channels, right? So a lot of businesses now are understanding, okay, it's not just physical, but we should be also looking at online. And everyone is now, okay, going online. Because even if your store physical, and a lot of, especially in the Philippines, a lot of physical stores were closed. And so how can you sell, right? So you should also look at different sales channels. So two things is that make sure internally that your processes, your business will still run. Can you do work from home? Is your business gonna survive if one source of raw materials is down, where do I get those? So options. And then externally is your customers. You should be spreading in terms of customer base, not be dependent on one set of customers. So you need to have backups as well, because if no one is buying, okay, your business will fail. So that's my thoughts on that. Thank you.
Great question, and thanks, Neptune. Next, we have a question coming from student from Team The Void. So The Void, please unmute yourself and turn on your camera before asking your question.
Okay, thank you for your speech, and it's very inspiring for us to meet you today. So here's my question. I understand that finding like-minded people is essential to start a business, but have you ever felt that no one has the same vision and the enthusiasm like you? Like they don't work hard as you and they don't believe in the product as you? If that happens, so what would you do?
That's a very good question. As I mentioned earlier, the team is very important. Finding like-minded is very important. So first is you need to, as I mentioned, you need to look for someone that you already know, someone that you have already working relationship with. So for example, in the office, or your friends already that you trust them in terms of work ethic. So it's hard. I've seen people that gotten together. For example, there's a hackathon and you just met them for the first time, and then you wanted to build something. It usually fails because they don't know each other. So it's very important that you know each other. But your question is, what if you're having a hard time? Don't push it. So don't hire or don't get a co-founder just for the sake of getting a co-founder. If you want to do it just your own at the start, do it. Because it will become a liability if you force that person to you, right? Especially if you know you don't have the same vision, you don't have the same ethics, work ethics, it will be very hard. So don't try that. Try out first on your own. And the good thing about doing it your own and doing it passionately is that you will meet people that have the same as you, right? Because success and passion, it gravitates other people as well, right? But you just need to go out of your comfort zone. So myself, I had to go to attend to like this, to attend competition, to attend workshops. And when I do attend this public events, is that I open my mind that I need to meet these people. With your objective is that I need to find people similar to me that have the same passion. And that really happened. My head of tech, I met in one of the events. My business development is also from public events. And the good thing about not forcing it is that they will also look at you and they will say, okay, this guy, for example, you, Tam, this person is building something that's inspiring. They will see it. They will see your passion and they will gravitate to you. Because it's a two-way process. You also you need to convince them that to join you. And they also need to convince you to join so that they can join, right? So, and if you have that same passion, same work ethic, and that will be the start. But it doesn't mean that it will be smooth sailing. Okay, expect that there will be challenges. But as long as you share the same passion, for us, especially for us, is that we all wanted to help our Filipino MSMEs. We're very proud of that. And so even if there will be challenges, we always, let's step back and just look at ourselves. Why are we starting this? Right? So we always go back to that. Why are we starting this? And we wanted to help our Filipino MSMEs, and everything will fall into place if you have that same vision, same passion. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Fantastic. Once again, thanks to our Entrepreneurial Journey speaker, Mr. Neptune Factor, for sharing his valuable insights. Our students will continue with their work, supported by FedEx facilitators this afternoon, and before day 3, the final day of the 2021 ITC competition tomorrow. Let's take a look again on the exciting ITC AP Finals events that will happen tomorrow. Our 30 ITC Asia Pacific finalist teams will present their market entry strategies to our first round competition judges in the morning. And we will be announcing the 6 teams that can proceed to the grand final round of the competition. And our 6 grand finalist teams will present their business plans to our grand final judges in the grand finals presentation starting at 4 p.m. Hong Kong time. And finally, we will close the 2021 ITC Asia Pacific Finals with the award ceremony at 6:30 p.m. Hong Kong time. Please continue to stay tuned to our final day of exciting ITC livestream events here on Facebook tomorrow. Thank you, and see you again very soon.
It would be cross-cultural.
Game-changing.
Unexpected.
Inspirational.
Qualifies as one word.
Overwhelming. Become more confident and equipped in starting my own business.
Back then, it gave me a huge dose of confidence.
Learning how to pivot definitely was an immensely invaluable experience for me.
The software as a service companies and cloud computing that creates integrated ecosystems.
With the coronavirus constantly impacting our lives and aging population on the rise, health and medical treatment is believed to be the next big thing.
Take advantage and even innovate current technologies, making it easier for entrepreneurs to establish themselves in the market.
Happy 15th anniversary.
JA, FedEx, ITC, a happy 15 years.
Happy 15th anniversary.
Happy 15th anniversary.
It's happy 15th anniversary.
Happy 15th anniversary.